Hi everyone, it's Coach Mo here for another Motivational Monday. You might be interested in this one because it is a topic I hear all the time from the women we work with in our Kick-Ass Career Workshop. Got a little bit of light streaming in. I've got some angels sitting over on my shoulders here. All kinds of light, bright, sunny stuff coming into my office today. And I am super excited to talk about this very, very popular topic on careers and why quitting seems so compelling. I'm going to actually talk to you today about why quitting seems like the right idea. And I'm going to talk to you about why 9 times out of 10, it's not. So if you've ever quit a job, you might want to listen in so that you can see if that experience resonates. If you are thinking about quitting, if your job is like, you want to listen in because I want to help you understand what's really going on and give you some strategies to help you navigate. Let me know if you're listening to me live here and tell me where you're from or who you are and what's going on. Hello, Tammy. Very nice to see you. So today's topic of quitting your job, again, like I said, is a meaty one, and we're going to dive right into it. So if you're in a job that you feel that you absolutely want to quit, there's a few things going on there. Number one, you're not getting ahead, or you have gotten ahead and it has overwhelmed you. Number two, you don't have a boss that's supporting or championing you or your work. That's no good. And number three, you've been there for a while, feel kind of stagnant. You've been overlooked. People are maybe pushing you around. Perhaps you've marginalized yourself and now you're not involved to some of the key meetings. Or perhaps you've actually pulled yourself out of a lot of aspects of what is cool and fun about your work because it just got boring and stale. So you've marginalized yourself. And perhaps also, in addition to all of that, is that you've got coworkers that just aren't cutting it anymore, or been there, done that. They're not stimulating or interesting to you, and you in turn aren't to them. So maybe things have gotten a little drab, a little boring. And the only thing keeping you there is the fact that you're actually getting a paycheck. Perhaps the only other thing keeping you there is it's something to do. Those are not good reasons to stay in a job, and they certainly don't measure up to a successful career. And hello, ladies. Anne, nice to see you. Reggie, nice to see you. Erin, Marianne, nice to see you, ladies. When you think of quitting your job and you're in that boiler situation, I want you to understand a few things that are happening. So if any of those criteria I just mentioned to you are matching up with what's been going on in your job recently or in your career trend, you've got a problem. I know. Thanks, Coach Abi. You knew you had a problem. You know you've got a problem. That's why you want to quit your job. And you might be thinking to yourself, is this the best it's going to get? Is this the only way to have a life where you also have to work? And I say to that, no, it's not. But it could be your programming and your conditioning that has got you stuck. But I'm going to tell you the other big reason why you're stuck in a job that you want to quit. You are a physiological human being. I know, sort of obvious again, but here's two components of you. You have a soul component, you know, that invisible part that's like with you all the time. That was with you when you were 3, 4, 0. It's going to be with you when you're 80. That soulful presence of who you are is a big part of who you are. And you take it wherever you go. But sometimes you shove it down because you don't have a place for it. So you're just your human physical part 2. That physical part of you has some inner workings and things that it does because you're a human being. And this is why you want to quit. When you're under stress, day in and day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, that stress that you're under that entire long time starts to wear away at you because now you have an adrenaline and cortisol overload. That does predictable things to the human brain. And one of the things that it does is it shuts down your creativity, your solution-minded brain. It really starts losing the prefrontal cortex access, and that's the best parts of your brain. Those are the executive function. Those are the things that develop when we're adults and that make us really happy human beings. Because we can see through things, we can judge for the future, we can be creative problem solvers. All the cool stuff about being an adult in the world is in the prefrontal cortex. All the stuff about survival is in the lower brain. That's the stuff that gets triggered when you're under chronic stress, the lower brain. So you literally become a functioning of the lower brain dominant instead of the prefrontal brain dominant. It's kind of an icky place to live. So if you're living in your lower brain dominant self, all sorts of things are happening. First of all, you're craving calories. Secondly, you're depleted and tired all the time. Thirdly, your body wants to shut down because it's tired. But fourthly, it won't shut down because you're under stress. And when you're under stress, your body is hyper. So you haven't slept in a while regularly. You don't sleep well. Maybe you're overdoing it on things that make you feel better. Binge watching on TV, maybe a little extra wine at night. Maybe you've isolated from friends because you're sick and tired of being the friend who's always complaining. All of those things are part of what the primitive brain is basically instigating and provoking you to do and how to live your life because it's under attack. When your body is giving your being signals that you're under attack, you're going to do some very predictable things, like sleep less better, like be irritable, like be miserable, isolate from friends. Your health might go in the wrong direction. You're definitely going to gain weight. If any of that is you, you can just let me know in the chat here and I'll be like, okay. So when you're under chronic stress and you feel like you have to quit your job and it's the only way out, there are some very predictable things that are going to happen. Let me see if I can, but here's what's happening. Your best soul, self, wants freedom. So you've got this massive conflict going on. The biology of being a physical human being is in stress mode, chronic stress mode, primitive brain, and the soul is like, get me out, get me out, get me out. So you're a prisoner of your own condition of stress. That's why you want to quit. Because the only way to get out of this, the only way to override your primitive fear brain is to quit. Because you don't know, pardon me for saying it this way, you don't know how to control yourself. Because your hormonal stress response is controlling you. I know. Someone had to say it. Your stress response is controlling you if you're in this, I gotta quit, there's no way out mode. And it's running the train, and it's gonna run it down the track until you crash. Or if you do something really smart, and that's get help. Because there's only two things that really stop you from having the same repeating pattern. And one is to lean into someone who's going to give you the best expert opinion and advice. And number two is to crash and burn, and you've got to stop doing what you're doing because you have no physical choice. To me, the thing that really, really crashed for me was getting breast cancer. That was my crash and burn. I had no other choice. but to go get that treated and do the things I needed to for that. Those are the things that are going to happen. And if you quit your job when you think it's the only solution because it's the only way out of this trap, you're going to crash and burn in a slower way. The crashing and the burning is going to happen because most people who quit their jobs begin to have rationalized fear patterns. Oh, maybe I'll go to yoga teacher training and be a yoga teacher instead of an accountant. Oh, maybe I will design furniture and work as an interior designer rather than as an engineer. I've always liked furniture design. Or you may say to yourself, that level of job is just too much. I don't need to make that kind of money. I don't need that kind of responsibility. I'm going to just settle into a lower paying job and take care of my family and live a little simpler life. All of that rationalization is really what fear does. Fear sneaks up, causes us to get scared, and because we don't want to feel scared, it creates a rationalization so that we can live with ourselves. This is Psychology 101. So in the midst of fear, you're going to make yourself an excuse. I know. Look, being a coach isn't always a popularity contest, I gotta say. But what it is an opportunity to see how these patterns have affected and poisoned women's lives and careers for decades sometimes, and we're helping pull them out of the swampy water and save their lives and turn them into awesome, soulful selves. And now they can make decisions for their highest self. Now, I'm going to say this. There's a reason why you are so used to running. There's a reason why when you're in fear brain and you're rationalizing what you want to do, that you are used to running away. Again, it's the simple fear response. But if you don't have a solution, the only option you have is to run. That's it. Like if a bear is attacking you and you don't have a weapon, you have to run. You're not going to fight it off with your fists. So given the same circumstances, your body knows how to fight or flee. And then, of course, there's this third option called freeze. And when you freeze in the midst of that type of chronic stress, the stress gets to you so bad that you have to fight or flight. You can't freeze any longer because you're in such an uncomfortable pattern. So you are so used to running from this level of stress because, again, the primitive brain is begging you to do something, begging you to do something. And that's why it's giving you all of these physical signs. When you have disruptive sleep, you better pay attention. Something is happening. If you start gaining weight, losing sleep at a stress combination like that, pay attention. If you're being irritable and being a real bitch to people, pay attention. Is that really you? Has it maybe begun to be you? And is this now your new personality disorder? Or have you decided that you have ADD and you can't focus on stuff and really what it is a chronic stress pattern and you've been convincing yourself that it's ADD? And what happens is that you're living in a digital world that's very fast paced, and since you're chronically stressed out, you don't even know how to focus anymore. Not being able to focus and come up with solutions and come up with a strategy is not normal. It is a stress response. And when you're living a stress response, your whole makeup is going to be making rationalizations around why that is the right way to live and the right way to be. Don't do that. It destroys your life slowly, and it eventually leads to some type of other massive confrontation with life and death, or massive confrontation with a bad financial outcome, or massive confrontation. I've got a woman in the workshop right now. Massive confrontation was an email she sent out that basically, it was the I quit email. And they took her up on it. And she got into our workshop, and we've been doing some deep work to relieve her of some things that have been plaguing her for years. And that's the thing that happens. You bury this stuff for so long. You push down your feelings because you don't want to feel them and you don't know what to do with them. And over time, the frustrations of getting passed over, of not being listened to in meetings, of being too far down in the org chart that they don't really care what you think, of not making the strides and the advances that you know deep in your soul that you should be making, all of that gets pushed down and pushed down and pushed down because you don't know what to do with it. And it creates layers of defense mechanisms, rationalizations, and pain. And that level of pain is the message you think you have to quit. If you can avoid quitting, please avoid quitting. I'm going to tell you the same thing that I tell my clients in my kick-ass workshop. The playground of your current work environment is the best place to retool who you are and to move yourself into the higher version of you. When you quit, you take your self-esteem down many more notches. You now no longer have momentum of having contribution or traction in the work world. You're going to start feeling lousy about yourself. And then, of course, there's the financial gap. If you don't have a year or so worth of savings to live off of, you're really in a pickle. Not many people do. And so you probably need your job, not only for financial reasons, but also for the contribution and the momentum that it actually does give you that you're contributing in the world. It's super important as a human being with a profession and a career that you have livelihood. So when you quit, you lose that. It's like you're turning off your oxygen supply and expecting to still run. I've seen so many women quit or lose their jobs, and then months and years later, they're a shell of themselves. And then we got to pick them up from that point and lift them forward. I'm going to tell you what, I'd much rather work with you before you quit and help you survive and thrive and learn things about what you might need to learn to do better at your current workplace than to have you quit and say, well, now I've got the time to do this. It's not the best answer. Seriously. There have been so few examples of where I've said to a woman, you know what, you probably should quit. You got to get the hell out of there. I had a woman who was a whistleblower, doing the right things, and she was being trashed at work. Trashed. And I said, please don't give up. We're going to coach you through this because you're going to grow and you're going to learn and you're going to enhance who you are and what you're all about. Now, granted, that's a whole lot of job trauma to come through, and she's still working it out. But in our workshop, we helped lift her into a level of empowerment. She eventually did quit, leave on her own terms, not because out of desperation. She left on her own terms, but she left after executing on some very important, powerful strategies that will be with her forever. She was able to have powerful conversations, meet with powerful people in her company, have really, really crucial conversations that now are embedded in her psyche, her self-esteem, and her sense of what she's all about and who she is and what she's made of. And now she brings that forward rather than being defeated. Because when you bring the defeated you forward into a new job, guess what? You're bringing the defeated you into that new job. Guess what happens? There's something in the universe called, I'm going to write it down because this is kind of like so cool that I finally figured out how to use these things here. There's something in the universe called, wait for it, The law of attraction. Mo, isn't that just a bunch of books and visualizing and expecting that I'm going to have my millions? No. Here's the law of attraction, folks. The law of attraction is wherever your consciousness is hanging out, that's what you are going to attract. So here's a clue. On the clarity call, and please book one if you haven't worked with us and you haven't had the opportunity to do a deep dive into your career and what's really going on, you're going to want to have a career clarity call with either myself or my teammates. You probably want it with my team, because if you have it with me, you're going to be scanned to the bone. Okay, I'm just saying. Your career and your life is an exact reflection of where you are hanging out consciously. Are we on the same page with that? Are we on the same page with that? You don't have to be agreeing with me, but I'm telling you what, this is a universal principle. If you are excited, joyous, feeling your soul's full excitement of vibrational frequency of positivity and happiness of who you are in the world and how the world is, you're going to attract that. When you quit, you're defeated, you're down on yourself, your self-esteem goes zooming into the toilet, because that's what happens when you quit. Your whole vibrational reality, your whole sense of self goes downward. And so, hey, you can interview for another job and you could possibly land a new job. Likely you're going to get paid less, and likely you're going to attract the same characters at that new job. It's going to be what it's going to be because of the law of attraction. I don't make this up. I didn't invent the law of attraction. I just am an expert at helping my clients leverage it to their success and understanding the principles of it so that they can live a life that is happy, joyous, they get their smiles back, they feel awesome. So many of our clients tell us a week or two in, I feel better than I've felt in years. That's what you want to rise yourself up to, and then get the next level of job above where you're at. Not quitting. Not quitting. If you have an abundance of self-esteem and you're in a job where you feel like you have to quit, something's not jiving. Because that abundance of self-esteem, and I got light coming in at different angles now. I'm going to stay here. If you're like, hey, I'm awesome, I'm cool, I'm the best in the world, I'm this, I'm that, I'm making all the money I need to make, but I got to quit this job, it's not working for me. Well, finding a new job should be easier than quitting. The way you must handle this is if you feel that you must quit your job because you're in chronic stress mode, overwhelmed, and don't know how to handle it. You have got to rise yourself up from the inside and lift your soul and be a higher version of you. It is the only solution. Because if you get another job, you're bringing you there. I know. Crazy how it works that way. You are bringing you. With all due respect, if you're quitting under duress or you have a very duress situation, there is something that has to get fixed inside of you. And if you don't fix it, you are going to attract the exact same, but even at a more intense level, because the universe is trying to get your attention. That's how this law of attraction thing works. So the way we do it is that we help you raise up your soul's vibration and be a higher version of you. We help you navigate the practical realities of your career path and your job, give you really, really great coaching and advice to navigate that, help you bring your soul back up, get that vibrational you in the highest level possible in the quickest way possible, so that now you're hanging out up here. And then you execute on new job. That's the magic formula, and that's what we do. And that's why I'm saying to you this. Quitting your job, whoops, gotta stay out of that direct sunlight. Quitting your job is probably not the best solution for you. Now, of course, I don't know all of the circumstances. I don't know everything about who you are in your life, etc. But why would you quit without another job? There's no reason. Things have gotten that bad that fast. What have you not managed? What have you been avoiding dealing with that it's gotten that bad that fast? You must take full responsibility for your role in it and what you can do to move yourself into something better. Like pull the shade down. That's what I could do to make things better right now. Let's slide over here. Which direction? Hey Mo, you've got a light beam traveling across your face. I know, pretty cool, right? So, all right, I'm getting some comments. All of it true. Law of attraction works both good and bad. It doesn't care if the attractor pattern is negative. Law of attraction is not making judgments. The law of attraction is science. It's just doing its thing. It's doing what it'll do. Maybe I should put that light right between my eyes. Ooh. 1 second. Let me just lower my blind. Don't go anywhere. Commercial break. I don't know what the commercial is going to be. I'm back. Did you like the commercial? So that's the don't quit your job story. If you quit your job, hear me out, you will increase the calamity and chaos that you've invited into your life. You will increase the lower sense of self of who you are, and likely you will have a backslide in your career that will take years to recover from. Years, not months, years. I see all the time. I see women in my workshop who this happened to them years ago and they're still kind of hanging out below where they ought to be contributing in the world and the money that they should be making. The contribution you make in the workplace is equal to your compensation. So if you feel underemployed and underappreciated, likely you are underemployed. And you need to be seeking a higher level of contribution in an organization so you can be all that you feel like you must be. A lot of women we work with are chronically underemployed because it is a reflection of what they think about themselves or what they think about greater responsibility. Women are programmed to think negatively about responsibility. I don't want more. I don't want to take on more. It's going to take me away from the things I like doing. It's simply not true. One of the biggest lies in career strategy, because the higher up you go, the more autonomy you have. You get to make choices. But here's the thing. If you're not fully developed as a human being in your own power, in your own sense of self, if you aren't fully you, you will get crushed by more responsibility. That's absolutely true. If you can't handle it, it will seem like the more responsibility is the problem. But what you have to do is to become a stronger, fuller, more whole version of you, and then you can handle it. Not only handle it, thrive in it. This is just the way that it is, folks. Not only have I been doing this career coaching for over 5 years with hundreds, thousands of women, but I had 30 years at it. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I have had 30 years of thriving and making every mistake in the book. I know from what I speak because I have been there. Yep, Jenny. That's what I thought too. Took a step down and I'm bored out of my mind. Not only are you bored out of your mind, you may be speaking out of turn. You may be getting sideward glances from the people above you saying, Jenny, mind your own business. We're in charge. We're the one making the decisions. And not only that, your paycheck's not as big. How fun is that? It's not. It's so much more fun to have a bigger paycheck. Because guess what? With more financial freedom with more financial resources comes more freedom. That's the way it is. So the higher up you go, the more autonomy you have, the more contribution, the cooler your ideas can be, and the more awesome you can contribute into the organization in which you're working. It feels better to feel better. It feels better to contribute at a higher level, and it certainly feels better to have a bigger paycheck. Move your career forward. Don't quit on yourself. Don't use the chronic stress syndrome that you're trapped in as the rationalization for a desperate move that is going to just trash your career trajectory. Don't do it, please, for you, not for me. I got nothing in it, okay? Your career is yours. If you do the right things by your career, you're going to have $20 and $30 and $40 and $50,000 a year gains multiplied by the number of years you're going to work. If you've got 10 more years to work and you make a beautiful, nice $50,000 increase job to job, yep, we do that too. You're going to have a $500,000 increase over your 10 years if you make no additional change. Now, the women we work with are so ready for more that they usually have a second career move in a very short period of time. Sometimes in less than 2 years, they're advancing themselves up again. We had a young woman who made a beautiful career choice in the workshop. She was losing her job, and proactively, when she was told that she was going to be losing her job, but she didn't have a timeline for it, she said, Mo, I need to find another job before this one goes away. And I said, yes, you do. Let's get to work. She took a $35,000 increase job to job. She got a good 30 more years to work. You do the math on that. 35,000 times 30 years. If she makes no additional career move, it's over $1 million. Throw inflationary increases, merit increases that will come because it's sort of kind of the way it goes. Advancing on top of that in her career, because now she has all the tools and the foundations of being successful. I mean, hello. That's a couple of additional houses. That's definitely her kids' education, her kids are, I don't know, 6 and 11 or something like that. So that's the type of career move to make. Now, this woman had never asked for more. She had never advanced her career. She had a flat career for over 10 years. She didn't know any better. First educated in her family. She didn't know what to do with that after just getting a job. So she was taken advantage of. She was overutilized and underpaid. Anyone here have that syndrome? Common female syndrome. And she didn't want to quit her job, but she was forced to look for something new. And that forcing of looking for something new and her soul wanting more, which all of our souls want more, it's the condition of our soul to expand. She listened to that and she went ahead and advanced her career. That's what we do in the Kick-Ass Workshop. The match of this is this. If you are underperforming in your career, if you know there's more for you, and if you don't know how to get there, or if you've been so traumatized, pushed back, passed over, and underemployed for so many years that you're really stifled and stymied, we can help bring your soul back to life. And then we get your career strategy right on track. Oh, Tawana, I was told just to be happy I had a job. I know. What are people around us thinking? Telling us to be happy just because we have a job? That's like saying if you're in a bad marriage, just be happy you have a marriage. I guess people are told that too. Or if your car's breaking down every time you drive to work, just be happy you have a car. I mean, no, that's not good enough for a human being. If you're a human being, you want more. It's the condition of being human. There's nothing wrong with it. And yes, many of us were raised that it's wrong, it's greedy, it's selfish to want more. You should settle for just good enough. Who do you think you are, you egotistical person wanting more? I've heard them all, personally and professionally. So I know all of the gremlins, all of the conditioning and all the programming that was heaped on top of you to add to this combination of really cyclical, bad conditioning that is stacking up on you if you're in a situation where you're feeling like quitting your job is the only option for you. So in today's Motivational Monday, you got a physiology lesson on how your brain works and how it controls your body. You got a lesson in the chronic fear response and the things that it's going to do in ravaging your body. And now you also know why that then turns into rationalization, and how rationalization on top of your fears can really create a life of calamity, and it can help bring you down rung after rung, and you're not going to know what hit you. And then you're going to be told all sorts of things, like Jenny was, that she went for a lower level job and she was bored. And now she's going to think there's something wrong with her. That's what happens, women. When you are in situations that don't work out for you, you tend to believe the external world, because it's how you're built also. And so the external world has dominance over you. I could go on for hours and talk about all the things that I see in my workshop and that we coach women powerfully through so that they have a better, different life and result in their careers. It's what we do. We perform magic. I mean, really, because a lot of women who come into our workshop are sort of like, oh, I hope this works. I don't know about this. I've never really known anyone who's been happy in their career or really even happy within themselves. Is it even possible? It is not only possible, it's your birthright. So if you're on the verge of quitting, please call us up, book your clarity call, give yourself an appointment to spend an hour talking with an expert who can help guide you in what's really going on. What is the truth here about your career? And if we think we can help you, we are going to talk about that. If we can't help you, or frankly, if you're not coachable and we can't help you because of that, we're going to be straight with you. But if we can, we're going to advocate and fight for you, and we're going to help you claim your life back. No one should be under the guillotine, the threat of feeling like they have to quit their job to survive in this world, day in and day out. You are worth more than that level of stress. Let me just look at the comments here. All I needed was a reminder to step into my power and find myself again. Mo, thank you. You're welcome, Maria. Happy to do that. And that's the plan. Let's see. Overused, underpaid, LOL. So agree with you. Talk to my new boss today. And her second question is, word, you have all resources you need, and let's discuss your career ASAP. That sounds like a great new boss. And that sounds like a woman who has attracted an empowered attractor pattern. Bam! Love it. In just a few short weeks. You're not taking shit from people who let us do all the work. Yeah. Paula, thank you very much. This program is magic if you make the effort. That is the key to life. In order to change, you've got to do the things required for that change. Listen, a shout out to the champions from yesterday. If you're watching me live, yesterday was the NFL Super Bowl, a national event here in the U.S., and we saw two championship teams duke it out on the field. I want to point out 2 or 3 things that we can take away from that Super Bowl as an element of what success is and what success isn't. Number 1, that very talented quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, is a true champion. When his team was down and they weren't performing at the level that they know how to perform, and he knew it, he was rallying them as a leader on the sidelines, not berating them, but saying, we can, we got this, all we need is a couple of good plays. He was rallying the better, higher parts of his teammates, and he stepped into his flow in order to make it happen. His coach said to him, just keep firing. In other words, just keep doing what you know how to do. You got this. The coach didn't layer him in self-doubt and negativity and criticism. Nope. And in the fourth quarter, lights out. If they would have let the past 3 quarters of the football game determine who they were going to be in the fourth quarter, they wouldn't have won the Super Bowl. But they said, the hell with it. We're the best. We're awesome. We're champions. We know exactly how to do this. They pulled the higher parts of themselves out. And you can tell champions when things get rough, who they are in the face of that situation. So in the face of feeling like you have to quit, who are you going to be? You choose who you are going to show up as and how you're going to show up. Show up as someone ready to fix the problem and take responsibility and own your next quarter. Own it. Own your destiny. The other thing I got to say, San Francisco 49ers were on fire in the first half, but it seems to me that they changed their game plan in the second half. They were running the ball as much as they could and wanted to, and it was working for them. And they came out and started passing the ball, and they started doing something that wasn't the formula. So you have got to understand for yourself, what is your championship thread? That's what I call your soul. And when you bring that to life and you realize who you are and how you were born and ordained to be unique and different in this world, we thread that into your career strategy, and it's a winning magical formula. Vanita, from the workshop, I got the tools to handle whatever is thrown at me. Bam! It's not for the workshop. I would have taught myself to accept the situation, live with it as the karma, or to run away from it. Now I know it's scarcity mindset. I have the right to want more and treat it well, so I stand in my power. It's time to take charge of the situation. Bam, Vanita, and always so great to see you and hear about your continued championing of who you are and how you play the game of life. So what do you do now? If you've worked with me, keep on working. Keep on showing up for your soul. Keep on sharpening your blade as to who you truly are in this world. If we haven't worked together and you've got a career that needs help, book yourself a career clarity call and let's get to work on understanding what's truly going on and what you need in order to succeed. Again, if we think that we can help you, we will talk about that. If not, we'll send you in another way. Maybe another coach, perhaps another solution, or perhaps, unfortunately, some ladies who book their clarity calls, they're just not coachable. And they're not ready to truly change, even in the direst of circumstances. Breaks my heart. Matter of fact, our team went through about 30 women in the month of January who we knew we could have helped. And they just didn't step up to the plate for themselves, and several of them truly broke our hearts. I want to help women lift their careers because women are game changers. If you saw the story of Katie Sowers, who is the assistant coach on the 49ers, she's a game changer herself. She wanted to be in the game of football since she was a little girl, and she has made her way into the NFL coaching ranks. She's living her dream because she dared to be different, and I'm sure she walked through fire to live her dream and to be who she knew she needed to be. Let's make that you. There's a dream inside of you of who you must be, and maybe you haven't been listening because no one has shown you the way to listen to your soul. We're going to take care of that and show you how to listen to your soul. This is your career coach, your kick-ass career coach, your bring your soul to work career coach, Coach Mo Faul. You can find me at mofaul.com or hang out here in this Facebook group and watch videos and get inspired. But the real work is when you get into the structured, strategic workshop that we have designed, and we have had over 600 women successfully navigate their souls and their careers to lift them to a higher level. I want that for all women on this planet. Only some women will take it up and be inspired to change at that level. I hope it's you. We'll see you next time. This is your career coach, Coach Mo. Love to all my clients.